Hi, everybody. This is Eric. We are now in week 2, and I'll try to get these brief weekly updates on by Sunday night so that you guys can have a little bit of advance warning. I want to thank you for your personal essays about the summer. I have not read them yet, but I should be able to grade them within the next couple days. And hopefully you'll get enough feedback to kind of figure out where you are in your ability to write grammatically correct. And speaking of that, I really want to encourage you to look at the support material that I gave you both prior to the first week and in the first week. You need to decide for yourself if your paper is going to be more appropriate for APA style or for MLA style. If it's a humanities paper, MLA is better. And if it's a social science paper, APA is better. And really, the big difference between those two citation methods is that the APA within the citation itself, in the body of your essay, will give the date, will give the year that the paper was written, because in social science it's very important to know if it's the most recent data, and you're going to have to look for the most recent data. In MLA style, it's less. We're generally looking at people who wrote often hundreds and hundreds of years ago, who are just like Aristotle, who are just important then as they were today in terms of his own take on how to write and how to and so the date is less important. All right, your assignment for your write this week is organizing paragraphs. So you're simply going to take a rather long paragraph, at least 5 sentences long, and analyze that in terms of how this paragraph fits in with the whole essay. So the topic sentence should be have a direct link to the paragraph in front of it. So you need to explore that. And then how is that topic sentence, the general idea for the following paragraph, developed in the body of the paper? And then in the end, how does the concluding sentence lead to the next sentence, and how well does it summarize the information you've just gotten? And I want you to realize that when you are writing, these are the things you should talk about. A good friend of mine, who's a very good writer, always said to me, the topic sentence of one paragraph should be the same information that you give in the concluding paragraph, written in a different way, so that your paragraphs link to each other. That's why in most writings now we don't put sections in, because as student writers you need to learn to keep up continuity in your writing, and don't stop one topic and go to the next, unless you're doing something like a dissertation in which you're giving different kinds of information all the way through, and then your conclusion summarizes all that information, which is what you're doing too with your shorter essays. Okay, also, you're going to be starting to research what topic you want. And to help you with that, I just want to give you kind of an overview. Often, when we learn about writing in high school, a step is left out. In science writing, you begin with a hypothesis. This is what I think is going to happen. Now I'm going to do an experiment to see if it's true. But that's not true for social sciences and humanities. You're not giving any sort of hypothesis. You are answering a question. And the question is the question that you pose. So depending on how broad or narrow the question you pose is, and that would be a thesis question, or a thesis statement is the same thing. It just depends on how you want to present it. Um, you're going to make that in the first paragraph. This essay is about. Often that's not the best way to write that, but at the same time, that's the information you're giving. So prior to coming up with a thesis which asks a specific question about a bigger topic, you need to figure out the topic first. You need to figure out what you need to see is there enough information out there about that topic to warrant a discussion of that topic. And if so, what are some of the different elements of that broader topic are you narrowing your thesis down to make your paper manageable? Remember, you can come up with several theses as you study your topic. Only choose one thesis for that particular paper, or else it gets very confusing. If you want to treat more than one thesis, sometimes as Scoots did, is that her name? Skloot did, is you have parts of a book that each address a different thesis within the overall thesis that she's writing about. And I think if you read the first part, you'll know that the second part is going to look at different things. It's going to look at the cells themselves and how that affected the family of Henrietta Lacks. All right, so right now I just want you to choose a topic. I like elephants. So now you have to go look and see what kind of information are there about elephants. Are you going to talk about elephant health? Are you going to talk about elephant conservation? Are you going to talk about elephant poaching? There are all sorts of different topics that you might want to look into about elephants. So that's when you're going to narrow your topic down to a thesis, and you don't need to do that yet. First, you need to find out about your topic, and that's what you're going to do today. I need 10 citations in whichever kind of research manual you want to use, APA or MLA, just to give me what those 10 references that you might want to look at are called. And I may check on them and I may not, but I want you to know where they are. And you're probably going to need a lot more references than that for your own personal research before you can narrow your topic down. You want to see where people have written about it, and you want to see where people have kind of avoided. Generally, if a part of a topic is avoided, it means that there's really no answer to whatever that question was. Do elephants go to heaven? I wouldn't have an answer to that. There may be a lot of people who project that. But this paper is based on factual evidence. You're going to need to start looking at the Hannon Library, because Hannon Library has databases like Jester that will give you articles on a general topic, and then when you're ready with your thesis, you can narrow that down through Jester too. It's one of the larger databases. You can go through several databases or just one. Try to choose the most appropriate one so you find what you're looking for. You can use books, but if you use articles, they have to be peer reviewed. That means when I write an article about theater, I send it in to a journal, and the journal has 2 or 3 people who know a lot about theater, who are also theater professors, read through them and give feedback to the author and recommend whether this should be published or not. I've only had to do that a couple of times, and I've okayed most of them, but one simply did not ask relevant questions. It was about Eugene O'Neill. And it just seemed like a superfluous topic that was he just submitted so he could get published. So anyway, this first step though is I just want you to decide what topic you want to do, and then find some information about those topics. The next step will be to narrow that to a thesis. You shouldn't do that yet. You should wait about a week and let that information kind of just gestate in your mind. Sometimes if you let information just kind of sit there for a little while, I know this as a theater artist, the way you want to go will come to you. kind of in all at once. Sometimes you have to kind of organize and think out what is it that you want to write about. So you don't want you don't want your final essay this term to be too easy. You want to actually have to get new information and then provide that information. Somebody asked me if this was an argumentative essay, and yes, I believe it is. But please do not think argumentative as in you're arguing with somebody or you have to win or you have to lose, because in reality, you are just presenting information to somebody, and your stance on the subject should logically follow from the evidence you get. At the same time, it's unethical and irrelevant if you leave out evidence that would contradict what your argument is. You want this to be honest because you want your readers to learn something, not just be convinced to do what you want them to do. Does that make sense to everybody? If not, email me with questions. LevinE@sou.edu, or text me. I've given you my number lots of times, so you have that. And the last thing I want to tell you about doing your research is, no matter what, always record your evidence. You may not need it, but if you have it written down where you found that, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. You can use note cards, so each quotation or each bit of information, you can also paraphrase. Each bit of information is recorded on a separate card, and then you can organize later by putting the cards in different places. My favorite way to do is I use my laptop. I use a different page for each journal I'm looking at when I'm doing research. And write down the citation, followed by a bunch of different quotes or paraphrases from that particular place. I do the citation at the top, and then the page number follows whatever quotations I pick. And I pick many more pieces of evidence than I need, because I'm going to sift through and find out when I write what the best evidence is. So always record your evidence every time you go in. I do it on a computer and each journal gets a different heading. Once I get to the second citation, then I know that it's a different piece of evidence. I think that cards are very helpful to some people, because when they organize their paper and break it down into paragraphs, they can choose the best evidence from multiple sources about that specific paragraph. Paragraphs should be about a half a page long, because you are presenting an idea, then you're giving evidence to support or not support that idea, and then you're analyzing that and drawing a conclusion. Okay? Probably 3/4 of your paper, if not more, will be simply telling us what you found out, and then at the end, you'll be analyzing that information to tell us why you reached your own decision about your thesis. Okay? Ask questions about that if you need to. Well, I'm probably going to repeat myself several times during these mini lectures. I'm going to try to keep them down below 15 minutes so that you don't get too bored, and so you don't have to take a snack in the middle of it. Again, I think I answered your questions, Emily, about this week's work. If I didn't, email me again. I tried to answer those specifically, and in terms of the reading and then the selection of topic. Please also look at the narrating of your topic this week. That's going to help you a lot in kind of focusing your energy on stuff that's going to be useful to you. Okay? At this point, you're looking at what is going to be useful to you. So if you have questions about that, we should probably Zoom meet for that. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be asking you to make appointments with me for advising for next term's registration. We can do that anytime between now and your day of registration. I am on Navigate, but I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. Teachers can't use it on their phone, so I'm not exactly sure how I get that information, but I'll get there. You can schedule a Zoom meeting with me anytime. Just tell me when you want. The more precise you are, the better. I suggest you give me 3 specific dates and times that you can meet, and then I'll pick one of them and send the invitation. 15 minutes. Talk to you guys next week, and let me know if you have any questions.